Coinfloor launched its London-based Bitcoin exchange in 2013. Founded with a focus on trust, security and reliability, their goal is to create a safe and accessible place to trade and invest in Bitcoin. They set up an office in Gibraltar after hearing about the ROC's distributed ledger technology regulations, which came into effect at the start of the year. Last month, Coinfloor became the first ever company to be awarded a full DLT license by the Gibraltar Financial Services Commission. I caught up with co-founder Obi Nwosu to hear their story. Obi, really nice to meet you. Can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Thank you. Hello. So I'm the CEO of Coinfloor, and we're a group of cryptocurrency exchanges. And my background is that of a technologist in the e-commerce and technology space for going on 20 years now. So I was working in various companies like eBookers, one of the most successful online travel companies in Europe, Autonomy, and also a very popular, successful, massively multiplayer virtual world, where we created one of the first virtual currencies used by its 30 million users.
Coinfloor is one of the oldest cryptocurrency exchanges in the UK. It was established by yourself in 2013. How did that come about?
So in 2013, at the time, there were a number of exchanges worldwide in the cryptocurrency space, but they all had reputations of not being transparent. They had anonymous founders, and also there were multiple hackings of these exchanges. So at that time, myself and my co-founder Mark Lamb decided to create Coinfloor, and we decided to resolve all these problems. It was easy to say, hard to do. And so we were founded on three tenets: trust, reliability, and security. So in terms of security, we decided to have a policy of what we call 100% multi-signature cold storage. And that's a lot of fancy words, but what it meant was that we would store all of our customers' cryptocurrency offline in vaults secured with the same level of security or similar level of security to that of the Bank of England. And reliability, we wanted to provide very good, consistent service. And finally, trust. And we did that by being known figures. We had a real office. We weren't these shadowy figures with pseudonyms. And we've maintained it ever since. Now, today, this seems obvious, but at the time, that was actually very groundbreaking.
We'll talk about the markets in a moment, but if I can just fast forward and ask you, why Gibraltar?
Okay, well, before we start, the story actually started in 2013. So as part of the reliability and trust, we believed that in the fullness of time, cryptocurrencies would need to be regulated like any other financial instrument. And so from the very beginning, we aimed to be a regulated institution. We applied at that time, because we were based in the UK initially, to the FCA to be regulated. But we applied and as an e-money institution, and they came back to us and said that at this point, cryptocurrency exchanges weren't regulated, and they allowed us to operate. But we still saw that this was going to happen, and we decided to take a preemptively compliant approach, and that's been in our DNA ever since then. Fast forward to 2017, where in an event in Canary Wharf, we were introduced to the GFSC by a long-term friend of Coinfloor, Sean Jones. And it was explained to us what the GFE was trying to do in Gibraltar, and we were immediately interested. So my COO and I, Amadeo Vicente Felice, and myself, came to Gibraltar on a fact-finding mission. And we were promised to be able to, in a matter of days, talk to regulators, auditors, banks, solicitors, all knowledgeable in the space, and also key clients and customers in the cryptocurrency space who were making Gibraltar their home. Now, we were incredulous, but we were amazed and shocked by what we found. Everybody was incredibly knowledgeable. The regulation that was being planned was very well thought out and very pragmatic. And all the parties we spoke to were really, really passionate about putting something in place here. So on the way back to the UK, we were deciding whether or not we would do something in this space. And before we'd even landed, the decision had been made. It was pretty much as close as you can get to a no-brainer.
It's been said that the regulatory process in Gibraltar is very robust and vigorous. Can I ask how you found it?
It is vigorous, it is robust, it's all of those things. And it's pragmatic and well thought out. And it comes from having a deep understanding of the challenges that this new technology bring about. I think that's because they very early on brought in the expertise into Gibraltar and had that expertise spread throughout the GFSC and all the other participants in the ecosystem. So there are many aspects to it. One of the key aspects is the 9 principles. Now, I won't list all of them, but these are principles which allow regulation to be able, for a DLT provider to be able to come in many forms. So we as an exchange can be a DLT provider, but it can also handle various other forms of cryptocurrency company, not just our own.
How does it feel to be the first regulated exchange, not only in Gibraltar, but in Europe?
So we are the first DLT provider in Gibraltar, and that makes us the first fully regulated cryptocurrency exchange in Europe. And now this is, in a word, an amazing feeling. We've been working on this from a preemptive point of view since 2013, since before we launched Coinfloor, our first exchange. And so it's a culmination of approaching 5 years of effort. So to say that we were elated would be an understatement.
Is it a game changer for you?
It's the culmination of everything we've focused on as a company. So we believe that this could be incredibly significant to the company.
What are your plans going forward?
So for Coinfloor Exchange Gibraltar, the plans are, now that we have this, to continue doing what we do very well, which is focusing on trust, reliability, and security. It is actually, from a day-to-day point of view, we don't want to do anything different. We just want to do it now from a mantle of being regulated. So the first things first, we need to make sure that we have a very, very good product. And that means ensuring that liquidity, i.e. the prices to buy and sell and the ability to buy and sell, is very strong in this new young exchange. And then also our mechanisms for people being able to use the exchange are solid. Once that's in place, we then want to open the floodgates and get people to use this fast, easy to use, well-priced service, which is also now regulated, giving people the confidence that there is a regulator overseeing what we're doing. Now, we have always tried to maintain the promises we say that we maintain, but now people can have a third party validating that as well.
Let's just talk about the markets, because obviously last year was a fantastic bull run for the markets. This year has been very, very bearish, doesn't seem to be coming out of it either. There have been media reports about a restructuring at Coinfloor and a downsizing, sort of insinuating that this was in response to market conditions. Can I ask you what you'd say about that?
So market conditions have changed over the last year. We were in a bubble and it's now correcting. As is the way for all markets, and especially that of cryptocurrencies. As a result of the changing market conditions, we think it's prudent to restructure your company aligned to how you expect the coming year to be. And so we did do that. We also made changes for various commercial reasons, which will become clearer in the coming months.
There are over 200 cryptocurrency exchanges around the world now. Do you think the market's become a little bit overflooded?
So we were the longest established cryptocurrency exchange in the UK. There were others, but they no longer exist. I don't believe that the market's overflooded. I can see a need for a few exchanges in any significant jurisdiction. So that could mean a worldwide requirement for a good few hundred exchanges for every given country. And then there'll be global exchanges or multi-jurisdictional exchanges, so pan-European, maybe global exchanges as well. So I don't think it's overflooded.
Some people still associate cryptocurrency with the Darknet and those negative aspects of security. still seem to sort of haunt cryptocurrency. Do you think it can ever progress past that?
So I think we've already seen a marked reduction in comments around the Darknet. I can see with the lens of time, you've asked this question once, but I would have been asked that question several times a day 3 or 4 years ago. Aspersions would have been cast about ourselves and Coinfloor. That isn't the case. There are now clearly exchanges that have a reputation which clearly separates them from that. And I think with regulation and the onset of that in Gibraltar, and then across Europe and across the world, you'll see this clear bifurcation between organizations doing things the right way, where there will be no aspersions related to the Darknet and other organizations. And so I think that's what's going to happen with this, and it already is happening.
You've seen an awful lot of what's been happening in the cryptocurrency market since 2013. It's been up, it's down, but there's no denying last year was a great year and this year has been very disappointing. Can you just make some sense of what's been happening in the cryptocurrency market? And do you expect to see more regulation come in place?
Okay, so when we first launched, we launched in 2013, which was just at the previous peak where the price rocketed up from a few dollars per Bitcoin to over nearly $1,000. And then our exchange launched a few months later in March 2014. And that point was similar to this, where we'd come off the peak and the price was starting to correct, and we were entering a more competitive period. And so we were born in a period as a company that was very similar to this. So we've seen the story play out, and what happens is this market becomes more competitive for a period of time, and players who make the necessary changes to their structure at an early stage do well, and players who take too long don't do too well. But this is key. The core elements of the community, the people who are developing the technologies, the people who are mining, who are providing the hardware which backs the technology, the larger investors who are thinking longer term, what we see then and what we see now is the same. They are doubling down. They are actually using this quieter period to actually go from hodling, holding on for dear life, hodling, to biddling, which is building for dear life, basically making new technologies, correcting the issues that still exist in this very nascent technology, putting in regulation in this quieter period. And so you're going to actually see the most growth over this period of time. And at some point, sentiment will catch up with the reality, where they'll realize that no, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies haven't died. In fact, they've got stronger over the intervening months. And then you'll see a correction. It may overcorrect upwards again. Again, whether it overcorrects upwards or it overcorrects downwards, it doesn't really matter. You should be looking at the underlying path.
Can you give us a prediction for next year, bull or bear?
I can't make predictions on next year, unfortunately. But it was a good try. It was a good try.
I had to give it a go. So, one final question. How significant do you think that Gibraltar's regulating this space, and do you think it will have an impact elsewhere?
Regulation in Gibraltar is incredibly significant, which is why we put the effort. We have an office here, a company here, a team here, and we take every opportunity in the international sphere to sing the praises of what's happening here. Now is the time of reckoning. We're incredibly hopeful. We're here. We want to make sure that we build a product which can compete, because it is an international market, compete internationally in terms of the prices and the speeds of the service it provides, not just being regulated. And so we want to make sure that's the case. But exchange is an infrastructural element of any community, and there may be others, but we want to make sure that we're doing our part in that respect. Then it's for the community as a whole to come in, provide services, innovative blockchain, cryptocurrency services, knowing that they have exchanges around to help them convert their profits or the resources they need from fiat into cryptocurrency and vice versa.
Obi, it was really nice to meet you. I wish you all the best.
Really nice to meet you too. Thank you very much.